I'm backing up my truck, I'm gonna hook it up, loading up my boat with all my gear. I've been working hard all week, trying to make ends meet, spending time wishing I was fishing. Whoa, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing. Gather up your gear and come along. Whoa, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing.
This is Terry Wickstrom. Join Karen Cullum, Greg Plaggio, and me as we take you to some of our favorite fishing spots from Colorado to Minnesota, the Arctic Circle to Central America and beyond, as we revisit episodes of Mountain States Fishing and Angling Adventures Television on the best of fishing with Terry Wickstrom.
Hey, you know, we're out here today on what used to be my home waters. I used to live just a few blocks away from this, Cherry Creek Reservoir, and virtually in, well, it's in Aurora, but it's like right downtown Denver almost.
Basically.
In the Denver metropolitan area. It's about an 800-acre lake surrounded by 2 or 3 million people and another million up and down the Front Range. So it gets a little bit of fishing pressure. But Troy, you told me we need to come out here. I haven't fished it since I moved to Fort Collins. It's been 7 or 8 years, and it's been 4 or 5 years for you.
Yeah, it's been a while. I just try to avoid this lake just because of the boat traffic. But the boat traffic really turns on these fish out here.
It really has. It's gotten really good. By the way, if you probably recognize this guy, he's been on many episodes of Mountain States Fishing. Troy Coburn. Troy, great to fish with you again.
Great to be here.
Troy's a tournament angler and a guide and avid angler. We spent some time in the water.
A little bit.
We've fished bass from here to Missouri and back, and
everywhere in between.
And everywhere in between.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've caught walleyes before, but it's the first time we've ever targeted them together.
Right.
And Troy keeps track of the lake. He lives right here in the Aurora area. You don't fish it very much, but you keep track of it through your buddies.
Right.
We think we know enough about the lake between us from the past and what we know. We've done some homework. We're going to go out here. Let me tell you a little bit about Cherry Creek and what happens. Springtime, this is a big fish lake. A few bites, but you can catch virtually a world-class fish in the 15 to 20 pound range. It's possible.
Probably a state record swimming out.
Very possibly a world record even.
Absolutely.
There's very possible.
Right.
Those fish you catch in the spring, very difficult to catch now. It's the middle of June. We're getting to what's called the summer peak. The water's warmed up. We haven't got the real first shad hatch yet, though, even though there's a lot of holdover shad in here.
Right.
And so the fish especially the young male walleyes, are really aggressive.
Right.
Nothing to go out and have a 20 fish day, or if you're really good, maybe a 50 or 100 fish day.
Sure.
You go out there. So we're going to go out, show you Cherry Creek Reservoir in June, and if you don't live here, there's probably a metropolitan reservoir like this near you that gets a lot of pressure, but there's times of the year when it's just hot and you got to go take advantage of it.
Right on.
We don't expect to catch many big fish today. Maybe 1 or 2 keeper over the 18-inch size. The rest are going to be 15 to 20 inches, but we should be able to, and in lots of different tactics. Let's get out in the water.
Let's go.
All right. Oh, I just had a bite too and I missed him. Let's see if he'll come back. Come on. There he is. Got him. Got him that time. Go ahead and take the motor off. Put it on momentary. And then get the net, my friend. And we'll get this my first walleye in Cherry Creek in probably 7 years. I haven't fished this lake. Been out for all of 10 minutes. There we go. It's a nice, healthy, fat walleye. I don't think it's long enough to keep. It's not a bad size, though.
Fun size.
Yep. We'll get the hook out of them. We'll show them to people. We're going to teach you a little bit about different ways to catch walleyes on a pressured lake like Cherry Creek when they're scattered. It's probably a 16, 17-inch fish. It's just got to be 18 inches to keep. And I'm telling you right now, if we get a couple 18 inches, we're going to introduce them to some hot grease. Because I love fresh walleyes. Nice, chunky, good to see. The fish are always healthy in this lake because they're such great forage baits. And just tremendous. Let me show you folks real quick what we're doing. We just got started. We did our homework before coming out here, which is really important. Now, we're fishing a metro lake that gets a lot of pressure, but there's times of the year when this can be as hot a bite as any remote lake you can go to.
Oh yeah, there's 100 fish days are not uncommon out here this time of year.
We've been out for about 10 minutes, got a fish, marked it on the GPS, but we did our homework. Talked to some guys that are fishing the lake, asked them how they were catching a number of meals.
Oh, yeah.
But they said the fish were spread out a little bit.
Very spread out, and actually the lack of wind is going to spread them out even more.
So what we did, started out, You know, I love to jig for walleyes. If I can only fish for them one way, I'd use a jig. Probably the most efficient way to catch walleyes, as most of the tournaments will tell you, is like when I was writing for Walleye Insider, we found out was pulling crankbaits. But out in the west, pulling a bottom bouncer like this with a night crawler harness, covering some territory. We can move anywhere from 3/4 mile to about 1.5 miles. We can cover water. We're going to mark icons as we catch these fish. If we locate a concentration, we may stop jig them, cast them with crankbaits. We could do some different things. We may show you some different ways. But we really just want to show you what it's like to come out and have a great fishing day on a lake surrounded by 4 million people.
And the greatest thing about it is it's less than a half an hour from most of the metro area.
Oh, I mean, that's what I mean. We're virtually in downtown. Then let me show you real quick how we rig this. I give a lot of seminars on bottom bouncers. People make a few common mistakes. During the course of the day while we're doing the bottom bouncer, I'll tell you a few things about them. First of all, you take your bottom bouncer. I always use a 2-hook harness, and I always take the nose of the worm and hook it real close on the first hook, just like that. Second hook, I don't stretch that line out because that worm's going to stretch in water. So I go back, leave a loop in that line. When I get in the water, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get started now. I'm going to show you how I put this down. We'll get back on our line and see if we can't catch another fish. Put my motor on constant for this because I'm trying to maintain speed, and it's a lot easier on constant than it is momentary. We're actually marking fish. So that's suspended fish here. But I want to show a little bit. So what we're going to do is, first thing you do with the bottom bouncer is always make sure the speed you're running, and I'm going to see if we can get the camera to see this in a minute, but always make sure the speed you're running is turning your spinner at the proper speed. And we're going a little slow yet. It's going to take us a minute to get up to speed. Okay, now if the camera can shine down there, you'll see. Now you saw that I could tell my spinner was at the right speed, what my presentation looked like. Now when I'm running a bottom bouncer, I'm going to let down. By the way, I use fire line as my main line, always, because it cuts the water. Usually 14-pound test is really good for this. This is the new Fireline Crystal. Now I'm going to let that down until it hits bottom. Okay, now it's on bottom. I don't leave it there. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to lock my reel. Now I'm a few inches off bottom. As the boat goes, though, that's going to plane out behind the boat. So I'm going to drop it back. I can't touch bottom anymore, so I'm going to let some more line out. So I hit bottom again, lock the reel, let it plane out behind me. And now as I go, I'm going to drop that back, make sure I can maintain contact with bottom. Need just a little bit more line. And I'll watch my depth finder. If I start getting too shallow, I'll reel some line in. If I start getting deeper, I'll let some out. But I always want to be able to drop back and maintain contact with bottom, but I don't want to drag the bottom. I want to be able to drop back, touch bottom, lift back up, leave it there for a few minutes, drop back, touch bottom, lift it up. And the reason I'm doing that, a couple things. Dragging bottom, some people claim will attract fish. Well, it may, but I'll guarantee you're going to be hung up a lot if you drag that on the bottom. And if you can't touch bottom, you don't know where you're at in the water column. Bottom bouncer is a presentation for fish feeding near the bottom. It's not an up in the water presentation. Many better ways to do that we may cover today or we will in other shows. But you want to make sure you're close to the bottom, touch bottom, bring it up, keep it there. Got a fish?
Yep.
And Troy is searching while we're doing this. Well, you need that, you can swing that one in. So what Troy's doing, because we're searching, he's casting off to the sides of us with a blade bait, about the same size. I think mine was bigger. About the same size. So what we're doing here is we're covering water in two different ways. We're covering with this bottom bouncer down low, and you're throwing that blade bait, searching off to the sides of our path, and we're looking for fish. Now we're marking fish. We'll just run this line. Show them a little bit about what you're doing.
All right. Now this is a very efficient way to find fish. Basically, it's just a little blade bait. You can do this with a spoon also. And all I'm doing is I'm casting it out, letting it sink to the bottom, and then just ripping that rod from about 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, letting the slack go back down, picking up my slack, waiting for it to hit bottom, and ripping it again. It's just a constant retrieve. Rip it, let it settle to the bottom, rip it, let it settle to the bottom. Now I do use a fire line on this also, because a lot of times you're going to let that bait sink on a semi-slack line. 90% of your bites are going to come when that bait is falling. So since it's a semi-slack line, it's important to use a line that doesn't have much stretch, and that's why I choose that fire line.
I got him. Oh, I missed him. I did exactly what I tell everybody not to do in seminars, folks. Never set the hook with a bottom bouncer because they're chasing it. They're coming, they're gonna grab it from the side. Maybe I can get them to come back, I'll see. And what happens, they're gonna come and grab it from the side or behind. If you set the hook when you feel a bounce, you're gonna pull it right out of their mouth. Now the first fish I caught, I just waited patiently, let him load the rod. That's why I have this long, it's a Fluger rod. I'm using the fire line, but I have a long rod with lots of give in it, so that fish can take it like this one is trying to do. We'll see if he'll eat it. So he can take it, turn, load the rod, that rod will give enough, then that hook will move to the side of their mouth. You'll almost never miss them. In fact, most people are better off to have a bottom bouncer and a rod holder if they didn't have to change rod depths, because as soon as you go to set the hook with a bottom bouncer, you're almost always going to pull it out of their mouth. I think I got him. Yeah, got that one. I waited that time until he had it in his mouth, and then I just tightened up the line. Yeah. He just came up behind and splashed our camera, people. Troy's busy rigging up another rig, so I'm gonna pull it in. Not even gonna bother to net it because we're gonna release it anyway. We should be fine. And now I'll tell you what we may do. Let me turn this trolling motor off. What I'm thinking about doing is we caught almost all the walleyes in exactly the same spot. Here's another good sign they're a little bit aggressive. He's on the front hook. We can probably continue to catch them, bottom bouncing, and we may do that for a while. But if we keep getting fish in this one spot where I've got an icon, let's get this one back in the water, about a 15, 16 incher. What we probably ought to do is almost every bite's come, I've got an icon on my GPS up here, almost every bite of my bottom bouncer and every fish we've caught's come off that icon. Now we can continue to go past with a bottom bouncer, we may do that for a while, but really we've located a spot that's concentrated. We should take a jig, a Lindy rig, or a spoon even, and go right and work that spot, and we may do that.
Got a bite.
Got him?
Got him.
Right over that spot too, isn't it?
Yep, right on top. We came up to 12 feet and they were there.
Good job. You need some help? I guess we don't need to net them.
Just another dinky.
Yeah, another cherry creek. You need something to get the hook out?
Yeah.
Here,
He was hungry.
This, got this hook remover from Rapala here. Ready?
Right.
Got these new hook removers from Rapala. Give it a try. I haven't tried one yet. But you're supposed to be able to get right down in and grab the hook. Pull it out.
Oh,
Isn't
that's
that neat?
nifty.
They're really nice.
No blood either.
He did bite your line off in his tooth when I took it out.
Oh, I actually broke the line.
Oh, you
already.
broke the line
yeah,
off of it, okay.
It's just a little bit easier to deal with.
So are you Lindy rigging too?
I am.
Okay.
And I'm using a fairly lightweight because we're fishing fairly shallow water, so.
I dropped your hook, but let's tell people a little bit about what we're doing. We told you before, go ahead and bring us back to that spot so we don't run into these other guys fishing over here. Okay. What we did, we covered an area, maybe, I don't know, 200-300 yards back and forth.
Yeah.
And with bottom bouncers, caught a couple fish, got another bite, caught 3 fish, got another bite. All the fish came in one spot, so we shouldn't be covering this area, we should be fishing that spot. We marked an icon on our GPS, our Lowrance GPS. Now, an icon on your GPS is like a marker buoy that no one else can see but you. We said, let's go hover over those fish with Lindy rigs. And the Lindy rig, I've got a red hook, a little bead for an attractor. I've got some vanish transition line here, which is fluorocarbon, a slip sinker that I can walk on the bottom, and a swivel to keep it from sliding down too far. And the whole idea of this isn't a search rig. This is when we fish a concentrated area that we know is holding fish, like that spot.
Right.
Just barely got back on it. Troy cut another one. I was still rigging up, so we'll see if we can get a couple more. You know, whether I'm fishing a river in Colorado or the flats off the Florida Keys, one of my most important accessories are my Vision polarized sunglasses. Not only do they allow me to see into the water, see the fish, but they protect my eyes from the intense UV. Vision makes great high-end polarized sunglasses for men and women, and you can avoid the typical retail markup for high-end glasses by logging on to habervision.com and using the member code FISHTECH.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Oh, pull a little drag.
Swing and a miss.
Swing. That was a foul ball.
That fish just
There
nailed
he
it.
is.
Got him.
Yep.
All right, I'll take the boat. As soon as we're on that spot, it's fish on. I mean, it's almost to the point where it's almost too easy.
A little better fish here.
Oh, we got a netter, huh? Oh,
Yeah.
it's about the same. Typical bass fisherman, exaggerating again. We're getting such our screen.
Whoa. Look at there. Barely got that one.
Wow. Just hooked around the tooth.
Ow, speaking of teeth.
I'm getting bit and you got another
Oh, my.
one.
This one's got a little attitude. Oh, I know why.
Why?
It's a trout.
You got a trout, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's one of the neat things. Go ahead, bring it in. That's one of the neat things about fishing a lake like Cherry Creek.
Net.
Bring that fish in and show it to people.
Oh,
You got to hold it up and show them anyway. So you might as
this
well
is
bring it.
embarrassing catching
It's
trout.
not embarrassing. It's people like to know they catch other fish. I'm getting bit here
Bye.
too, though. I got one. All right.
Oh, man.
Try to get us out of the sun.
Great fun, great fun.
What'd you catch?
Oh, that's not a bad.
Oh no, you got a trout though. I caught a walleye. That's the difference.
Oh, see, I told you. He'd make
Let
fun
it
of
go
me.
already?
Oh, yeah, he's gone.
You know, another 16-inch walleye. You know, one of the things about fishing at Cherry Creek Reservoir is that springtime is the big walleye fishing, and June, we're out here the middle of June, is the numbers fishing. Not that you can't catch some big ones now and some keepers, but you're going to catch a lot more big fish in the spring. You're just not going to catch as many fish, and this lake can produce fish up to probably 20 pounds or more. They've seen them in the nets when they've been spawning them. But let me tell you the difference about what we're fishing here. You just saw Troy catch a trout. You know, we're at a rig like a Lindy rig. Really, a lot of people talk about it, you know, as a bass fisherman, it's just like a Carolina rig.
Very similar.
Except a lot of times we put a different sinker on it. We
Right.
probably use lighter line than you would for a Carolina rig.
Right.
But it's basic hook, line, and sinker. We got a sinker up here. It's like a jig. We could jig these fish too. We could put a jig on. But what a Lindy rig is made to do, before we're using bottom bouncers, the bottom bouncer is designed to keep moving and cover water. Lindy rig, you just want to slowly use the boat to position your sinker down on the bottom, and then your bait is naturally presented behind it, whether it's a night crawler, a leech, or a minnow. So really all this is hook, line, and sinker, and you're not trolling per se like you are with a bottom bouncer. You're using the boat to position the fish. And all I have is I got a little hook. This happens to be a red hook. I'm not so sure that that's all that important. Sometimes some people think it is. This happened to be one I had. I have a little bead there. There's an attractor, a little chartreuse bead. Sometimes that's too much. It spooks them. Sometimes no bead at all. Sometimes you put a float on these. I have a leader about 3 feet long, maybe 3.5 feet long. Typically that's a good size to start with. If the fish are real spooky, then I might go to a 7 or 8 foot leader to get that bait way away from the sinker and way behind the boat. If I'm fishing a real tight edge, I might go to a real short. But all a Lindy rig is, and let me show you how I present it. And I don't even have any bait on here. Lindy rig, typically, you let it down till it hits bottom. Use your finger to control the line on the spool like that. So you get it, when it hits bottom, now I know I'm on bottom. I take the line, I hold it in my finger. I'm gonna let it get behind the boat a little bit, and I'm just gonna keep enough tension so I know where my sinker is, and up and down off the bottom a little bit, just so I know where I'm at. Now there's a few different things you do when a fish hits. You see I've got that line in my finger. If I'm fishing with a night crawler or a minnow, especially a large minnow, I'm always gonna, as soon as I feel that hit, I'm gonna release my finger, push and shoot the line towards the fish and let them take it till they run. When they stop running, I'm gonna reel it till it's tight. Now I don't set the hook till it's tight because I gotta lift that sinker off bottom. Then it's a nice sweeping hook set, you set the hook. Fishing with a leech and a single hook, they almost always engulf that leech totally. A lot of times I'll have the bail closed or I'll wait and I'll let them take it, get a little peck, and I'll sweep up and set the hook with a leech. You won't let them run with it typically because you don't have to with a leech. Lindy rig is made because these fish are on a tight spot. We're bottom bounce fishing. We catch a fish every time we go over that spot. So why keep going over all those other spots? And a bottom bouncer wasn't made to fish a tight spot. Come back, go to Lindy, rig a jig, fish right on the fish. And we're doing great, aren't we?
We're doing really well.
Ooh, this one's got a little more weight to it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a better fish.
Whoa. He thinks he is anyway. Well, you got one too?
Yep.
A good way to maybe end the day, my friend. Don't lose it. We'll get him in because I want to see whose is bigger. Because I think mine is. If I didn't think mine is bigger, I wouldn't say that.
Mine just came off.
It did?
Sure.
He knew mine was bigger. You still got it.
Where?
Bring that up here so we can see who got the biggest fish to end the day.
Okay. Oh, look at mine. Mine's bigger.
His would have come to about there. That's a nice walleye. That might be a keeper.
Yeah, that's pushing.
I think we're
That's
gonna
pushing
we're gonna
18.
do a measurement on that. Let's just take a look, see where we're at.
There you go.
Oh yeah, 19
inches.
And you know what? We've been out here a couple hours.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many fish we caught.
Probably caught 40.
Just a great time. We caught them on bottom bouncers. We caught them on blade baits. We caught them on jigs. I had a Berkeley power grub. You got a little curly tail. I had a neutral colored one. You got a chartreuse one.
Yeah.
Caught them on leeches. Caught them on night crawlers. Caught them on Lindy rigs. I'm sure you could catch them trolling crankbaits.
Oh, sure.
We didn't do that today.
Nope.
You could have done them spooning.
Yep.
Tell you what, if you want to catch big fish right in the backyard, most metropolitan areas have lakes like this. Go in the spring. That's when you catch the big fish. Prior to the spawn, right after the spawn, and then again in the fall. You want to catch numbers of fish, get out there during what we call the summer peak. Let the boats go by as they're going to go by here. Let them steer the lake up. Get out Cherry Creek Reservoir in Colorado. Troy,
Nice.
thank you for fishing with us today and
it's
getting
my
us.
pleasure.
You know what? I haven't been back on this lake in 7 or 8 years, and you had me come back and do a show. Thank you for setting it up.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
You get out, catch some of these walleyes. You can catch all you want, and join us next week.